In this video, I want to show you the difference between creating a frame-by-frame animation and using a tween to speed up the process. I'm going to create a new Flash file, ActionScript 3.0, and in here, what I want to do is I'm going to have a ball dropping almost as if gravity is taking control and have it kind of fall down and maybe bounce. So on layer 1, first of all, I'm going to rename this layer. I double-click inside this layer, and I'm going to rename this Frame Ball. That way I know what layer I'm working on. And notice how I capitalize the F and the B in this word. This is called camel backing. Don't worry about that right now. Later on, when you get into more ActionScript, camel backing is when you put the first letter of each word as a capital letter and make everything no spaces. So I've created this frame ball, and I'm going to draw using the oval tool. I'm going to go ahead and draw. Oops, let me just I'm going to make sure that the objects is selected. It doesn't matter really, but I'm going to go ahead and just draw the object. Now I have my first frame drawn. In frame-by-frame animation, I'm going to go ahead and press F6, click on the arrow tool, and I'm just going to hit the arrow tool down a little bit. I'm going to do this again, F6, and just while it's selected, move the arrow down, F6. I'm just repeating this where I press F6, and I'm adding this motion down. And so I'm pushing the down arrow key on the keyboard after each time I press F6. When I press F6, it creates a new object. Now this is going to take forever for this ball to get to the bottom. Let me just speed up and go a little bit faster. So I've gone just over a second, and you can see the ball has even gone all the way down. Let me keep going here. Okay, so I have the ball, it keeps going. Okay, I'm going to go there. Let's just scrub through. So I click on the playhead, and you can see it does drop if I press enter. It does drop down from the top to the bottom. Now I want to show you how to create the same thing using what's called a motion tween. Let's add a new layer. I'm going to click on new layer or insert layer, and I'm going to call this tween ball. Now, when I have layers already selected and I create a new layer, notice how my frames, it's not just frame 1, but it's frame 1 and then it continues all the way through frame 20. If I draw something on frame 1, and I'm going to draw a ball over here on the right hand side, I draw this ball from frame 1, it stays there the entire time, and you can see this gray area is indicating that there is something there. If I want to get rid of some of this area, if I press Control on the keyboard, notice how when my playhead or my cursor is over the end of the frame, I can drag and I can actually get rid of that ball later on. So you can see that ball is gone here, but it's present in this area. All of this area is a frame. This frame is all the same based on this first keyframe. I'm going to press Control and stretch this back out to the end. Now what I want is I want the green ball, the second one, to follow the same motion that the first ball has. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the last frame, which is the box, and I want to insert a keyframe. So if I go up to Insert, Timeline, and I'm going to choose Keyframe, it converts that last frame to a keyframe. So what this does is it has point A and point B, and everything in between right now is the same. You can see if I drag in between, it's the same. Now in animation, what keyframing does, they hire the key artists to do point A and point B. Then they hire the cheap artists or the interns or someone who doesn't cost as much money to draw all the frames in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Flash draw the in-between frames for us. I'm going to click on the last frame, and I want to move this ball down as though gravity were pulling it down. So now when I click, I have point A, and then it switches to point B. I want to switch this so that it has all the in-between parts drawn. To do that, I'm going to right-click in this gray area on this layer, and I'm going to go Create Motion Tween. When I do that, it gets this black solid arrow. If the arrow is a dashed arrow, that means there's something wrong and it's not working. And I have point A going to point B, but this time I have everything in between, or the tween is drawn for me. So now I can press enter and I can see in a lot fewer steps and a lot fewer frames, I was able to create the motion of this ball dropping. Now, something that's really cool about the motion tween is, let's say I want the ball to not just bounce, or not just drop, but maybe bounce against the wall and go down. I move my playhead over somewhere in the middle. Right here, I'm going to go at 10 frames. I'm going to click on the object, and I'm going to drag it against the wall. When I did that, it created a new keyframe, and it also changed my animation to bounce against the wall and go down to the ground. So for this assignment, you are to create one ball that drops using the frame animation and one ball that bounces around. In fact, I want this ball to bounce around and hit all 4 walls. So let me just go ahead and add another one here. I'm going to have the ball bounce down there so it hits the ground. And then I'm going to have it bounce there. Let's see. Press enter. So the assignment is to have the ball bounce around, maybe experiment with adding more frames. Notice how it kind of goes really fast in between here. What I can do is I can press, select in that area, make sure my playhead's over it, go up to Insert, Timeline, and then if I just go Frame or press F5 on the keyboard, notice how it puts extra space inside here. Now this also does it for the frame ball. So the frame ball is going to stay still for that length of time, but there's more space between this keyframe and this keyframe. So let me go ahead, press enter, and you can see it slows down. And there you have it. Now that's creating a tween instead of using frame by frame animation. Go ahead and create a document like this and upload it to Moodle.